change in the country on the 8th of January last year. Since then, what has been the progress of the government? There has been several blackouts to add to the toll. The country's economy is not in a sound position. Now, where are we really heading? To discuss all this and more, I have with me this evening the former Deputy Speaker of Parliament and now he is the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Mr. Chandra. Very good evening to you and welcome to this First in Focus. Nice to have you on board, Minister.
Yes.
Starting off, what is your take on the country's current economic issues that we are facing right now?
Well, visibly till January 8th, people could see things physically happening. But some say, to a mind of a general ordinary citizen, you don't see that. Even we as politicians sometimes wonder why it is.
What is the reason?
Reason, I suppose now if you take my ministry, where the world oil prices have come down. One may ask, or not one may ask, a lot of people ask me as to why we can't bring the prices down. But the oil prices coming down has created issues in Sri Lanka as well, because our main exports, tea sector, is affected because most of the tea buying countries are the Middle East, Iran and Europe. Like for instance Russia, Iran, Iraq, Syria, all those countries are affected due to the downturn. So there is a issue with the industry. And then the garments. Garments are exported into those countries. And our foreign employment. Due to the economic issues in the Middle East, and foreign exchange that we've been earning for a long time is affected.
We spoke of the fuel problem that is persisting right now in Sri Lanka and the world over, Minister. However, there is a decrease in the number of, or else if I put it right, the price of crude oil has reduced drastically over the last few months that you all have been in power now.
Yeah.
But nothing concrete has taken place in terms of bringing in a formula that was promised even by your earlier predecessor as well. What is the reason behind this?
Well, formula I have prepared and submitted to the cabinet. But of course there are issues now, certainly we can bring down the prices.
Why not do it then?
If you do it, the issue is not as to whether you feel okay when you pump petrol, we can get a half a litre more and be happy. That's not the issue. Issue is Petroleum Corporation has a debt of 365 billion, which has an indirect impact on every citizen of this country. So as a government that is far-seeing and a responsible government, we have to see to it that the debt burden is paid off and the relief is brought to the entire 21 million population, not for the individuals who pump fuel.
365 billion rupees, according to you. How much have you been able to pay off in terms of this number?
Well, I must tell you, from the time I took over this ministry, every installment has been paid. We don't owe a cent as an installment or as taxes. Even the taxes to the government we have paid. Some of it that was due has also been paid. But and we have to, like lots of other institutions, owe us a lot of money. Now for instance, Sri Lankan Airlines, they have to pay us 20 billion, 30 billion. MENA, Electricity Board, 3 forces. Likewise, there are so many other from whom we have to recover as well. So now we are thinking of a mechanism recovering what is due to us and paying off what we owe to the banks and the treasury.
We spoke of Sri Lankan Airlines Minister. The Minister of Finance, Ravi Lanka, had said that the Treasury will only support Sri Lankan Airlines for the next 6 months. Your Minister, CPC, will I be able to recover the 20 billion that you were talking of if the Treasury is not going to be pumping in money to Sri Lankan Airlines in the future?
Well, that I suppose is Honorable Ravi Nayaka's personal opinion. I mean, when we function as a government, we have to be more realistic and practical. I can also say I will stop issuing fuel from tomorrow to Sri Lankan Airlines, but that's not the solution. We have to have a practical approach. We have to act responsible. We can, as on stage, politicians can say various things, but that's not reality. We have to face reality. We have to see to it that these institutions also function. I mean, today, presently, we supply 1 million liters of diesel daily to the CB. But they owes a lot of money. Can we say till such time the money that is owed is paid that we are going to stop? It's not possible. You know, we have to think as a country. We cannot put people in trouble. Now, for instance, one of the main reasons for the debt is prior to 2014, oil prices are very high. But the government, had they sold at those prices, people would have found it absolutely difficult to live. So the government was compelled to subsidize. But the treasury didn't pay the subsidy to the petrol corporation. We had to carry that burden. Most of what is to be paid is due to the subsidy and kerosene subsidy.
Are you trying to say, Minister, that former President Mahinda Rajapaksa's administration did not manage funds well? Or are you saying that the Ranil Wickremesinghe administration is not managing politics well?
Well, I mean, one may, it could be a person's opinion. What we have to presently do is not to be pointing fingers at what was done and what is being done. We must collectively put our best effort to take this country forward. That is how I think. I mean, politically, I suppose, as a member representing Sri Lanka Freedom Party, we are concerned about what people want, to see that the people are happy. And also, as government, we have to be responsible to see to it that the country's economy survives. So it's a difficult task. Except for India, all the other economies in the world are facing issues. Even the Chinese economy is not doing so well presently. But of course, in the medium term, they are supposed to kick up and do well. But if you take even the Japanese economy has come down by 1.4%. Europe is not doing well.
Minister, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa on political stages had continuously said that there was infrastructure development taking place prior to the 8th of January last year. However, now nothing is going on. And you also, in somewhat sense, said you also wonder as politicians, are we on the right track in terms of doing infrastructure development? And my opening question, what happened to all the money that was there in the country prior to the 8th of January 2015?
No one can say that the major infrastructure development is at a halt. Now the highways are continuing. Even the railway track to the south is going on.
So former President Mahinda Rajapaksa is lying?
Well, it's like this, in politics, especially when you have held the highest position in the country, and when you lose it, it's something common, not it's something, it's not unique to the former president Mahinda Rajapaksa. You go to any other country, like now in Malaysia, Mahathir bin Mohamad, he is considered to be the father of the nation. But recently, he was removed from, rather he was barred from visiting Petronas because of the way he criticizes. I mean, even Lee Kuan Yew at certain times had this. So these, I mean, we have to be kind of mindful of these utterances. I mean, of course,
There is development taking place right now. Is that what you're trying to say?
there is, but of course the grassroots level now, presently, 1.5 million per village has been allocated. But the funds haven't come as yet. So immediately after the funds come, people will not say this.
When will the funds be given to these villages in question, Minister? Does the government really have the money to give these villages 1.5 million each?
I suppose, I think that's a question that you should ask from Minister Ravi Karunayaka. But anyway,
But pledges have been made. In the budget, pledges were made.
certainly. And even today I came from the divisional coordinating committee in Imadua. So there we prepared plans for village rural level development. But the medium level, now for instance, my electorate, if I may give an example, Imadua city development stopped on the 8th of January. But we formed a national government and requested the president. Immediately work started and we could complete first phase, hand it over to the public, and money is allocated for the second phase. Today we had a meeting about the work commencement of second phase. 300 million has been allocated. And then there was about again 30 million to put up a auditorium in Imadua. Even that was temporarily stopped. But now after we assumed duties, with the blessing of the president, if we could reactivate that. Now the contract is awarded, we will be able to start work in a couple of weeks. And Ahangama market, another project of 1,200 million. The market was demolished and the work was to be commenced, but it stopped. But with the intervention, contract is awarded to CECB and the work is being done. If you go.
Minister, a few months later, you might tell me that the Minister of Finance is not providing us money and hence we cannot carry out all these projects that was envisaged by you or even the President. Will that happen?
It doesn't happen. So, because these are contracts awarded to various parties upon an agreement. So we cannot violate terms of those. And without money, we will not, as a responsible government, we will not proceed with this work. But people don't say another conference hall, which is being built at a cost of 800 million. It was stopped, but it's now work is progressing. Abarado bus stand stopped, but we completed it and commenced operations a couple of months back. And the railway station is being built. If you go there, you can see. So a couple of other projects also, and construction of a hotel school in Ahangama. Contract is about to be awarded. So like that, I'm just telling you of the development that is taking place in one electorate, that is Abaradu, where I represent. So, but people say,
But that's just one electorate.
that likewise,
Minister.
there is work progressing elsewhere as well. But the issue is, people don't see. Now, for instance, Port City, due to various reasons, there was a delay. Work stopped. And that had a huge impact on the economy. From the person who was transporting sand to the person who was there to work as a laborer, ordinary laborer, suffered.
However, the Premier had given the green light to
Exactly.
continue with the postal project now.
So now it's going to start. So once it starts off, people are going to say this.
Does your government have a vision for the country's economy, Minister?
Well, we do have because we have a vision only, we have to take a few drastic decisions. Now about the fertilizer subsidy. Now today I discussed about that at the Divisional Coordinating Committee. The previous government provided fertilizer for 350 rupees. Well, that time that was a must, because people hardly wanted to be engaged in cultivation, in agriculture. But the way people were using fertilizer, we knew would damage our soil and we will not be able to plant anything in the future. Since the previous government had planned to introduce and promote organic fertilizer, but it was slowly happening. Especially close upon elections, it's not a time to introduce such measures. But today at the meeting, we discussed with the agriculture officers, the agrarian officers, vet surgeon, and agriculture assistants, and the irrigation officers, to set up a committee together with the Pradesh Sabha to prepare places to create organic fertilizer.
Minister, are you fearful in any way that your national government that you represent now is losing the grip or losing the popularity amongst the people of the country?
Well, now that's a good question. Now when you try to introduce, now I was talking about fertilizer subsidy. People in Sri Lanka, they are used to getting fertilizer at 250 rupees. But now this government wants to give them 2,500 rupees and get them to go and buy fertilizer that is available at 2,500 rupees. So those days we had to pay 350 rupees. But now we don't have to pay a cent. But people take a while to get adjusted. And at the same time, with that 2,500 rupees that they get to their hands, they can go and buy organic fertilizer. Those options are available. But Sri Lanka, we are all Sri Lankans. We take time to get adjusted. And so likewise, this government is taking certain drastic steps which people are not willing to buy at once. So those issues are there. I don't say all what the government is doing is acceptable to the people. But very correctly I must say, the President has a vision. He can understand pulse of the people. We as members of Parliament representing rural electorates, we know how people feel. So I suppose we will be able to, and we have to fast track development. We have to take a diversification of our economy.
Minister, you said the President understands the pulse of the people.
Yeah.
Does the Prime Minister understand the pulse of the people? He's the one who's calling the shots right now, isn't it?
Well, now, Prime Minister again is a man, is an intellectual. He has a vision. He understands. He has a very good theoretical knowledge. So this two put together should make a very good combination, as people expect.
Minister, drawing a little bit of experience of yours over the last few years as a Deputy Speaker of Parliament, who is really strong in Parliament, either the national government or the joint opposition?
Invariably the national government. Now, practically, if you take the Constitution, President is still the Executive President. And if you take the national government, we have easily 2/3. Joint opposition should be there. Opposition should be there. I don't know whether you can call it joint opposition or whatever. There has to be an opposition to correct the country, even as SLFP. As a party, we have decided, we have allowed whoever would like to be in the opposition to stay in opposition and come out with constructive criticism. So, I mean, there has to be an opposition.
Are you aware of the recent meeting that was chaired or headed by former President Mahinda Rajapaksa that was held in Colombo, Minister?
Which, with whom?
Which was held recently, where you saw 38 members of parliamentarians representing at Hyde Park. Are you aware of it?
Yeah, why not? I am aware of it.
And you had a lot of SLFP parliamentarians joining hands with the former president. Does this in any way worry you as an individual who was with the former president?
Well, not at all. I am a member of Sri Lanka Freedom Party. I have not only been with the former president, I have been with the previous president and the previous former Prime Minister, Madam Sirima Bandaranaike. I started off politics with her, and I am with the present leader who is the present president of the country. And in time to come, if I leave, I will have to be with future leaders of our party as well.
No, sir. You said it does not worry you, and you are still with the present leader of the party. Does this worry the Sri Lanka Freedom Party's future?
Not at all. The Sri Lanka Freedom Party has always been a party which has been open for criticism, argument. The main reason of our downfall was because it was curtailed by an iron fist for a certain period of time, which is not the style of SLFP. Now we are back into
Iron fist. Who are you referring to?
I mean, I don't have to know his name. it's known. So, but now we are back again in the SLFP that was created by late Honorable S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike as a breakaway of the UNP. There are people with our party. The name of our party is Sri Lanka Freedom Party. We, enjoy freedom. We want to express our opinion. We want to argue. Even now, presently with the president, we can, if there is a difference of opinion, we can freely tell him. So people have faith now. Yesterday, I was at Tangol, at our Balamandale. Over 5,000 people were there for the Balamandale. And that was a SLFP Balamandale, which was held opposite former president's house. Not that people there don't love former president, but they love the party. We have two former presidents in the country. I had my Balamandale day before yesterday. It was well attended. I had never had such a crowd participating at a Balamandale ever since I was appointed organizer, which was about 16 years ago. So the people's participation is there. Of course, people, there is always, you will have a soft corner for your former leader. You have benefited under him. You have been groomed by him. So that's, you can't stop. But we are not trying to break off. We want the party to be united. Of course, there are various people who represent obsolete minority who think that they can break SLFP and put UNP back to power. But the majority of the SLFP is against it, of course. Even the 38 members who are there, if you ask them personally whether they want the party to be broken, they will say no.
Sri Lankan Airlines, when the split was taken over, when Sri Lankan Airlines was taken over by the government in the year 2008, Minister, the Sri Lankan Airlines was making a revenue of approximately around 9 billion Sri Lankan rupees. Now, the losses amounts to 124 billion rupees. CPC and the CEB are also organizations that are making losses at the moment. Privatization is on the cards in the future?
Well, I don't know as far as CPC is concerned. There will not be a privatization of CPC. As a minister, I can vouch for that. Because CPC is not making losses. When we pay our taxes, of course, before tax, we had a profit. After tax, certainly we are at a loss because we have to pay taxes for the government to run. Like that's the case even in Saudi Arabia. Taxes are
Anywhere in the world, taxes are very common. Pledges after pledges were made by the national government during the last months saying fuel price formula is going to be reduced, nothing has been done. When will we be able to see some light in this dark tunnel in the next few months or so? When can we really see this?
We are, as I told you, we're paying back the dues, and at the same time we are collecting what is due, and at the same time we are concentrating on exploration of natural gas and oil is a top priority of our ministry. As of now, Total, the biggest French company, is in Sri Lanka into exploration. We signed an agreement about a month back. They're actively engaged. And the Western Geco, that's Schlumberger is one of the top companies. It's like number one company in the sector. They have come as Western Geco.
Fuel price formula, Minister, when can we see this?
So look, once we see positive results of extracting gas and oil very soon, that will lead one way to think of a formula to be operational in this country.
No fuel price formula in the year 2016?
Well, I can't give you a deadline. We are trying, because I'm supposing I can certainly think of a deadline, but if we give that, we will practically find it difficult as a country to move forward with the debt that has created a huge burden.
Thank you very much, Minister, for joining us right on this special focus. Pleasure was all mine to interview you today.
Thank you.